In my business, I sell quite often complete joystick kits, but from time to time I get a question on somebody wanting a kit where that's just the joystick and the cables and perhaps an electric third function to use with an existing valve. And so we actually have come up with an option for that. Here are the options in the kit. The first option is going to be the joystick. This is a 2-function joystick. And then the other option within the joystick category is a 3-function. This one is exactly the same as the 2-function, except it has the pigtail, which you'll have to wire into your existing electric third function on your valve, and we do have instructions on how to wire that. And then the third function is electric with the 2 buttons. The next item is the brackets for mounting our joystick in the cab. These brackets are going to be specific to the tractor that you have. These are specific for a 4000 series John Deere tractor with a cab, but they'll be different depending on the type of tractor that you have. This is how the joystick is mounted inside the newer 7000 and 6000 series John Deere tractors. And this is how the joystick is mounted inside the older 7000 and 6000 series John Deere tractors. Along with the joystick mount brackets, all the hardware is included for mounting them. So you've got the hardware that's needed, of course, for mounting this inside the cab, as well as the hardware that's used to mount the joystick itself. Then the third component is the cables. These are 2 cables, as you can see. It's hard to see how long it is because it's coiled up, and that is how it ships. But there's different lengths. We have everywhere from 86 inches down to 47 inches. And then there's some other variations in there too. This will be the tip that will connect to your valve, and there's an adapter kit that goes between the tip of the cable and your existing valve. This is the tip that goes up inside the base of the joystick itself, and there's instructions for how to connect that. And then the fourth and final part of the kit is the connector kit, which is connecting our cables to your existing valve. And this, of course, is the most tricky part because there's just so many different valve brands out there, and then even within the same brand, they can connect a little bit differently. Here's a few examples of what we carry. There's 2 main styles when you're looking at how to connect cables to a valve. There's what we call the open style, and that in that case, your spool is actually out in the open. It's not covered. And so with that one, we've got a few different items here that you can use in that situation. Let's see here. This is a type of clevis where this is threaded onto our cable tip, and then this is connected with a pin, which is provided to the spool. And then also, of course, you have to clamp the sheath of the cable so that it's stabilized. And this is just one example of the clamp. Again, this is for the sheath of the cable, and we've got a few different style clamps that are available. This is a U-bolt style clamp, which is also available. One thing to be aware of is there is going to be a little bit of field modification with how you clamp the cables down from time to time, depending on the type of existing valve that you have. In some situations, your setup will already include a clamp bracket along with a device for actually holding the sheath in place, like in this situation. And then the other main style of connecting cables to the spool involves the spool tips where they're completely covered, and that's called the bonnet style. When you're looking at your installed cables, typically all you're going to see is something like this, because this is completely covering up the spools themselves. So there's a few different styles with the covered style. Usually this part is very similar. The way that it actually is anchored to the valve, this part will be a little bit different depending on what style you have. And then the way that the cable tips are connected can be a little bit different also. This is located within here. You won't see this style until you have unthreaded the housing. And so there's a few different styles with this as well. So you want to make sure that you're ordering the correct tip within the housing, as well as the correct way that the housing is anchored to the valve itself.